You already know what time it is. Who's ready for some boom, baby? Boom. That's that sun. Rise and shine. Shining in your face this morning, marijuana motivation time. I'm your host with the mostest, Marquis Saint, and this is Saints Addiction, aka Mostly Saints, aka Saints Giving, because next Sunday we'll be feeding the homeless. Already posted about it, and this time we're being about it. We're the only ones in the park, we're the only ones outside, and we're the only ones that know where we drive or what drives us or what makes us get in drive, aka action. And we're going to talk about this for the lack of motivation for some people in the max motivation when they really want something. Then you got Saints Addiction. Then you're telling the truth on yourself. Leg out, share, and follow below. Let's go. So getting up in the morning, thank God, that fresh air smell, only when you're alive. They talk about these realms, things that are for free, like that quiet mornings or, walks on the beach, things that give us natural dopamine, things that give us natural ease. And as I watch these kids play around, running away from each other on Sunday, in the park, it goes to show you where your happiness is at. You didn't realize it, but you're still the same person, except for now you don't have a brother or sister chasing after you. Now you're not giggling like a little, get away from me, you know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Instead, we double down and stack down on our ignorance. We double up on our pride. Fuck, bro. I've seen me do it time and time again, especially when my ego's in it for the win, except for my ego's not my ego. My ego is trying to project what I want the world to see in me, right? I want the world to see that I am successful. I wish the world could see me as tall, bro. I wish they just said, oh, I'm balling. I'm just all over you guys. Can't get off this field. Just too many touchdowns, bitch. You know what I mean? Instead, I went the other route. A saint's supposed to be sober, right? Aren't you supposed to have all the answers? Aren't you supposed to be the perfect human being over here doing saints giving and feeding the homeless? And it just turned out that it wasn't that way. What drives me is more altruistic than that. It was just a promise that I would give back. And I know most people, when you're down and out, you'll promise the world, right? You promise that you'll never cheat on her. You promise that you'll be on work on time. Hell, I even promised that I quit weed this morning. No weed. But in these decisions, in these hard decisions that drive us, look how awesome. See? Scooter gang. Like everybody else is trying out here to buy more scooters or, purchase more things. And it's the time that we have that drives me, It was not an outside thing. It was an inside thing. You really want to feel good inside? Give. I'm not joking. It's one of those things. I don't even care if the person you're like, oh no, they're just gonna go buy alcohol, bro. And I don't know, man. I'm really tight on money. The idea isn't what they do with it. The idea is that you do something with it. That you do something with your energy. That you do something with your time. That you do something with your money other than just you. And you know it, bro. We all do it, bro. We all got self-determination inside of us. We're all like, what's the next thing I'm going to purchase? What's the next thing that's going to make me happy? How do I make me happy? And I'm telling you, it's a we thing. We need you to be with me, and we go feed the homeless, and it will all be happy. And that's what it is. It's this belief, plastic pocket challenge, right? It's the belief, the feeling, and the operating system, your OS, just like a computer, that you live by, right? If there's somebody that can appreciate just a couple scooters, plastic pocket challenge, y'all. Just to take your kids to the park, man, just to show them that you are a part of life with them, that you are spending this time, this lifespan with this individual, and show them what love looks like, show them what support looks like. What else are you teaching your children? I'm sure you put them in front of the phone. I'm sure you put them in front of the laptop. I'm sure you let the TV teach your kids. And in this, we forget really all they need is some cuddles, right? Really all we all need is some adult hugs, right? But when we don't show no love as adults, because there's not a lot of love being displayed. Love is for what they say, babies and children, not for men. We don't want to show them compassion. And then all of a sudden, when you want it, you're going to need him to be sensitive, and it's not there. We look around all the time and we're driving away from our happiness, right? We're like, man, I'm just going to double down, right? And some of this is delayed gratification, right? Like not masturbating. I think I'm up to like a week, over a week. It's got to be. Or not smoking weed. I'm up to 12 hours, right? Like I smoked last night, bro. I love smoking. I love masturbating. Shit, I love porn. I love all these things. And I ask myself, what drives me? Because if it was something easy, something that makes me happy, then all of a sudden, right, I got the energy for it, right? Getting dressed, taking a shower, setting up a date, going on a date, that sounds like a lot like effort, right? That just sounds like a whole process that I don't want to open up to someone else or find love or go on dates. So we pacify ourselves. We'll say, who'd you kiss last night for New Year's? My dog on the forehead, on his nose. He licked my lips. Like, bro, that is not the goal. The goal isn't to date our pets. The goal isn't to just be okay at home with our pets on our lap and we're safe. The goal was to be having the time of your life. It's New Year's. You got someone you love. You're celebrating this new year together. You're bringing it in. You're making out. You're fucking having a good time. The music is loud. And now you're creating memories. For the rest of us that sat on our ass and didn't do anything, right? I wasn't driven enough. And it's starting to bug me. For sure, all the things that bug me the worst are opportunities missed. And I'm just like, fuck, can't get the time back, can't redo it. And it pisses me off enough to do something about it. And that's what drives me, right? That I could get away from being homeless, right? That I can find my freedoms in the morning to have these conversations, that I can reach inside of me and put myself in drive, right in shift gear, clutch, boom, first gear, bam, I'm gone, right? Peeling tires towards my next destination. I'm on fire for the things that I want in my life. If anything else, it's the lack of desire that slows us down. It's the wanting of calmness and stillness that keeps it the same. If you want to play it safe, then you're not in life. Life is not a safe sport, right? Hate to tell you, but it's dangerous. Most of us don't get to make it. There's abortions, who knows if someone wanted to kill you during your growth? Who knows if you had an accident or something befalls you in the hospital, your health-wise? There's so many pitfalls in this game called life. And we are all here running around going like, why am I not in drive? Well, you're probably not in drive because you don't have a plan. What was the guy telling us? The guy, he's an investor. I don't know, but he was talking about being financially free, but he was going to support his children. Like, what if your kid wants to be a soccer player? What if he wants to be a movie star? What if he wants to be in retail, a fashion designer? He said, okay, well, we're going to have to go through the numbers, right? The numbers are, you got to be the 1% of the 1% of the 1% in sports and entertainment and all these other things. You want to be an athlete. Only the athletes that perform the best get the biggest paychecks. And that's really hard to do. Like we all want to be a rapper apparently, because that's what everybody's doing. They're all rappers, right? I mean, dude, how many people can walk into each other at the same time? He's walking towards me, I'm walking toward him, and then they show up and they got to get close. Why aren't you 10, 20, 50 yards away? Give them some space. Some people's kids, bro. So, what drives us might not necessarily be meant for us, right? Like, I know for facts that most people are smoking cigarettes. That ain't good for you, right? I know for facts that people are in relationships that are unloved or no sex. Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? And then I know for facts that people double down with cognitive dissonance even though they know the facts. Think about that, and who doesn't pick up after their dogs with these sacks? Come on, bro. You got your own dog. You should be picking up your own dog shit. Come on, bro. And that's it. Nobody wants to pick up after themselves. Nobody wants to pick up their own shit. They don't even want to pick up their dog shit. They even put the shit in the bag and didn't even walk over and throw it away. We're incomplete. You want to know what drives you? It's not this Hello Kitty sticker I just picked up. It's these unseen things, it's the intangibles. They talked about it. I think it was Bo Nichols, but it was like Bo Nix or something. It was something with Kevin Costner, and he's like this head NFL coach, and they put it in the back of the playbook. There was a $100 bill, and they tested these kids to see if they would tell the truth, right? And the truth is they didn't tell the truth. Hello Kitty, stickers in an hour, baby. They're not telling the truth. They were like, oh yeah, I read the whole playbook. We all would say that, right? And what ended up happening is that was a lie. He didn't collect the $100 at the end. He was showing them that he was a liar, that his interests were in himself and his likeness and his profit, right? Like, we serve our ego way more dedicated like a gold cow than anything else that we got. We like to go into drive mode if it has anything to do with and not only our instincts, but our, what's the word that you want, with impulses, right? If it's a girl across town, just like my dad used to say, if it's a hot chick across town, bro, all of a sudden you're in the car without gas, in drive, trying to make it work on the way over there. It's a lot like an entrepreneur, We're creating the parachute after we jump out of the plane. We just took chances. We went impulsively or maybe metaphorically, or I don't know. I think it tried to get in on my Wi-Fi. Maybe that's what it was. If you're an instinct player, like a lot of people just follow your instincts. Well, our instincts can lie to us, right? It's not necessarily that we needed something, it's that we wanted something. And now that we're on the want train, we're headed that direction, and it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop somebody from getting their candy. It's hard to stop somebody from getting their sex or their salt, right? That is the monkey trap. To collect the monkey, and then it's a little something shiny, and then as soon as you let it go, it runs directly to water. You feed it some salt and it makes it really thirsty. Same for us as human beings. We're really thirsty for consumption. She's got a purse, but I don't, right? We're really driven for appearances, right? Let me put on airs all the time. Let me put on my makeup. I can't leave the house without putting on a shit ton of makeup. I can't go out looking like this, or I have nothing to wear, right? A lot of I in there, a lot of ego in there. But what isn't in there is action, right? That's one of my favorites. Out here. That action to say, what? Regardless, I'm going to show up. What? Regardless, I'm going to fucking start that business. What? Regardless, I'm going to stick to my guns and just mention Rogan Vapes. Mention Saints Addiction on their website to get 15% off. That's one of my affiliates. And not smoke it. Actually, the owner and I were supposed to go on a hike today, but we've got family in town. Boop, excuse. But maybe next week we'll be able to do it. Not next week. Sunday we'll be feeding the homeless Thanksgiving, but the day before, just giving myself a chance not to be parked by myself, man. For sure, if you don't know what drives you, you might want to know what parks you. I'm just putting it out there. What keeps you in park, not moving? Car's about to get towed. They put the sticker on the window. There's cobwebs on the brakes. That's us. We haven't cleared out the cobwebs. We haven't had sex in a long time. We haven't talked to anybody. We don't know how to socialize. And then it becomes addictive. Your loneliness becomes addictive. Yeah. Your system becomes addictive. Your habit of being by yourself can be very addictive. And the one thing that you need the most is a team. The one thing that you need most is a group. And the one thing you need most is some meetups. You need to be out there with the hiking group. You need to be out there with the workout group. You need to be out there just for mentality. It's how humans operate. You're not getting away from it. I promise you. Just like it's hard to get away from sugar, sex, and salt, why is it so hard for us to get away from that? Because it's in us. Innately in us through our ancestors and our DNA, because it meant survival. And man, hey, stop fucking around all day on this island. Why don't you go find some pussy and procreate? You know? Oh, it was nice and all that you got all those mangoes and you're an iguana, but literally, what are you going to do with your life? You're the biggest that there was, right? You and your parents, they got together, they made love, right? I'm sure they didn't know they were making babies, right? And then they had to figure it out and make you. And that's what we have to do. We have to get inside of ourselves and say, hey, I need to figure out me. I need to figure out what makes me do what I do. How do I get myself in drive? How do I get myself out of park? And how do I hit the gas? And then you're going to really realize what life's all about. It's about moving yourself in the situations where you can be with your children and watch them grow up. I bet you that's the happiest he'll be all day this morning. What makes you happy? Me, I used to thought it was a Patron Silver shot, chilled with the classic fucking challenge, you know, with the salt on the rim, the Corona and the lime and the cocaine. Bro, I could have said, this spells happy. Or at least that's what my brain was saying. I'm going all the way to Miami. I'm going all the way to this cruise ship with my family. And I end up passing out drunk with my ass hanging out of the bunk. Like, bro, like, you think that this is making you happy? Of course it is. There's so many hot girls in the club. That's about the challenge, y'all. You know? And they're all there to earn their money because they're getting paid by the club to be in there. You know, they have different mechanisms driving them. It isn't to be in love. It's to pay their bills and pay for their baby because they got no baby daddy. I don't know what the fuck that's all about, but that's the fucking challenge, y'all. And that's what we do. We end up fucking putting ourselves in drive for some shit that you shouldn't be supposed to do. Like letting your dog bark at strangers. Why didn't you say something when he barked at me 4 times ago? Right? That's because you're not driven. You only care about you and your dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't care if other people are scared of your dog or that you have to pick up their dog shit or they shouldn't be really barking at strangers. It's really not cool, right? We don't adjust for anything. We just let it happen. Life's just going to keep on happening. AI is going to happen. Robots are going to happen. You know, time is going to happen. It's almost like it doesn't exist, right? Time is like a fallacy or a construct or a different dimension. You know, I guess when you go that fast at the speed of light or go around planets or a black hole, time morphs itself. Maybe there's a different dimension. Maybe you're in a different dimension where you pull different things and then you get different results and then different things happen. Maybe there's a version of you out there that's really concentrated and didn't make any mistakes and ended up being successful. Who knows? What I do know is that I keep waking up as myself. And 15 years ago, this journey started when I was suicidal. You know, I was homeless, bro. That's the shit. It's just the real shit where I was just like, wow, man, woke up, got arrested from my job. They fired me selling ecstasy pills in a different club. They found out and fired me at my job. My car got towed. I had to get it out. My girlfriend broke up with me. They ended up repossessing my car. You know, did I mention my girlfriend left me? My high school sweetheart. And I eventually got evicted because I wasn't working. I wasn't paying my bills and I was just in depression. And in this, I kept waking up. Maybe 2, 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, going to the ice cream aisle. You know, this will make me feel okay. Just to get ice cream, just to get some sugar in me, just to get that fake dopamine, right? And instead of having true connection, right, we go on to artificial connection, which is social media. And instead of having a real hug, I go to artificial hugs, which is sugar, right? And instead of having a real life, I went for my artificial life, which was depression. I literally was just counting the fucking popcorn on the ceiling and going like, whatever happens, happens, homie. You know, go ahead, tell the car. Go ahead, evict me. Go ahead, this whole world, I'm just going to sleep it away. But I kept waking up as me, right? Fat, depressed, lonely old me. And that was 15 years ago. And then I just said, you know what? What if I put myself in drive? And I had this thought, and I'll give it to you and I'll be true, that I was like, if this place catches on fire, I'm not even getting out of the house. They're gonna burn me up. Like your boy, what was his name? What's your boy's name? Tony Shea. Just like Tony Shea did, bro. He got burnt up in a fucking house fire and he didn't leave. And I like to think that he wasn't that high for that to happen. You know, maybe he was on the whippets too much or ketamine or doing too much Special K up his nose. He didn't run from the fire. But with $350 million in his bank account, he couldn't get happy. He couldn't find the willpower to run from the fire. And how many of us are that way? That only if it's desire, only if it's a hot chick across town, only if it's filling with our extreme wants and immediate gratification, do we have any sort of aptitude, amplitude, and energy. like as soon as it's like, hey, I got some money, everybody steps up. Watching these gold digger girls like, oh, I want your car, I want $100,000, I want a Birkin bag. They're just like, had it dancing around in their head the whole time. And that's why I ask you, what drives you? Are you just waiting for some sugar daddy to come up so you can manipulate him, get all these things that you desire, only to leave him be caught up in a fucking, I mean, like everybody wants to be in the high rise till they're making you a prostitute upstairs, right? Or that they keep keeping you on drugs so you have to fuck the next John. Or that everything looks so shiny up there except for you're just someone's puppy and they don't come hold your hand or make sure your mental health is correct. No, they just want your tits to be perfect and your teeth to be perfect and for you to show up and be perfect. Right. How's that gonna work? And that won't drive. That dog won't hunt, bro. That's why we're having this conversation this morning, because it won't hunt. You won't hunt unless you want it enough. Unless you have that big W inside of you, that human why, that thing that drives. You know, like I don't think the leopard gets up and goes, why am I hunting meat this morning? I think it says if I don't eat within the next couple hours, I'm going to be in serious danger, right? And that's what if I don't have this bag, Birkin bag, I'm going to be in serious danger. Set the wrong focus, right? Like, give you the bag, you die tomorrow, now what? You know what I mean? Like, give you all the milk, but you die tomorrow, now what? Now what's it worth? It's only worth something because you assume you have time. Classic Pocket Challenge, y'all. Right? It's only worth something because you want it to be worth the memory, worth the experience, worth living your life. And that's why I have this conversation this morning. Because it's worth living your life. It's worth putting yourself in drive. It's worth getting the flat tire and getting fucking pulled over and scraping the side of the sides because you're not going into it. Let's keep it real pristine with your fake titties and your fake teeth, right? No. When you're in the casket, it's done. Story over. And then they're going to go in there and tell stories about you, Classic Pocket Challenge, and you're going to have to step up and say, I lived my life or I didn't, right? Like, that's it. There's no in-betweens, right? There's no make-believes. You can embellish the story. I know a lot of people like to lie on the dead or, you know, try to figure it out after. I just can't believe Robin Williams killed himself. And I'm just like, that's because you guys don't care. like, y'all just wanted another movie from him. You know, nobody ever said, hey, why don't you take some time off and spend some time with your family and get some work on your health, go be free. No, it's back to the mental slavery. It's 2025's coming, the summer season's coming. We need another movie from you, Robin Williams. God forbid that you had drug habits. Why were you doing drugs in the first place? No one slowed down to ask you, you know, what hurts you? You know, what drives you? Are you driving towards the hurt? Or are you driving away from the pain? This is a real deep question. You know, it's fundamental. And like the guy asked, the happy professor or whatever is Harvard professor of happiness. And he goes on and he says, like, you know, not for nothing, it's the process that really makes us max happy, you know? And not for nothing, we're evolved to be similarly dishappy, about 50% of it genetically. And then you have your environment. Hell, I'll even add your zodiac sign on top of it. And then let's sprinkle your experiences and say and rate, you know, what's the happiness I've been? And when I was 19 and I went to my psychologist and they were giving me lithium, then I was like, ups and downs, you might be bipolar. And I'm like, well, why aren't there any ups, you know? Like, where's my raging out, you know? It was just depression and a cloud over me, and I could feel it inside of me. And that's what drives me, to be honest. That's what drove Saints Addiction. Drove me crazy. I was just like, I'm sick of being controlled by myself, you know, by my habits, by my fears, by inadequacies. I didn't want that to be the drive in me. And everyone has that opportunity, you know? Should I go talk to her? Oh, but I'm scared. Maybe you default back to scared. Maybe you're like me and you get mad at yourself for being scared and then you beat yourself up for it later. So that way next time you do something with your time. You actually get up and inspire. You actually shine. You actually do the workouts. You actually create the experience and you actually live your life. And that's what I hope. That's what I really hope, because there's so much magic in it. I was talking to my friend Lily, and I remember how excited I was when I first talked her into traveling. And she had her little passport and everything. This bitch has been to like 10 countries this year. Northern Lights in Norway. Right now, I think she's in Laos, you know, went over to Lebanon before it blew up. Like, who the fuck is this bitch, right? But I knew the adventure's untold. These little booklets called passports, you don't know who you're about to meet, who you're about to fall in love with. A whole year could go by so fast, and you're just like, wow, that's intense. And that's what our lives are like. Very intense, very fast, and very decisive. So that's why I hope that you put yourself and decide to put yourself in drive. You get to pick the gears. Most of us are choosing neutral, right? We're trying to be Sweden. We're trying to be Switzerland. I guess Sweden ain't neutral no more, neither is Finland. They're all NATO, but, you know, before, that's all we did. Let's play it safe. You know, I don't want to take any chances. I might look a fool to somebody, or they might make fun of me, or I might fail. Then that's what drives me. Hear me now, feel me now. That's what drives me. To prove it to myself that I'm not supposed to die. Not by suicide. Not by my own life. Not me taking my own life. Right? But me taking my own life in my own hands and saying, I'm going to do something with this bitch. I'm going to go travel the world and couch surf with no money for a year and a half around the world, just to prove that I'm not supposed to die that way. Some people, watch out, you're in traffic. I'm like, I don't die by a car. That's not my story. Me, heart attack, just like my grandpa. I can feel it in my heart. I kind of already know. So that in itself gives me the ticker. I'm on the clock. You better get up and go exercise. You know, you get more time on the clock. And not only that, but you feel better. And now you battle depression. And now you're actually angling for something else. Passive pocket challenge is a reflector. You know? And that's all I wanted us to do, is give ourselves the time to live our lives, our best life, our blessed life, and this shine life. You know what I mean? Believers' life. And I'm not talking about no sky daddies or religion. I'm talking about believing in your own change, your own trajectory, you know, your own lifespan. It's up to you to motivate yourself. It's up to you to find the motivation, right? And it's also up to you to live it. So you were blessed to have this life. All the odds were against it. And now you're here hating on it. It's not right. I wish it was like this, right? Instead of putting it in drive and seeing what it can be. Peace and love. And as always, Chigaton. That means goodbye, but not forever and finish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, subscribe. The other side of your fear, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be. Peace. Look at the tires popping. We got that energy. He got himself in drive. That's for sure. Put yourself in drive.